Hi guys, it's just me with another episode of All DHD and Some. Today we're talking about something very different as per usual, off on an ADHD tangent. We're talking about holidays. And let's be honest, for many neurodivergent people, a holiday can start feeling stressful before you've even found your passport. And if you're a parent of neurodiverse children, sometimes just getting everyone out of the front door can feel like the first stage of an international expedition. So today we're talking about neurodivergent travel with someone whose job is helping neurodivergent people and families enjoy holidays with less stress and hopefully more enjoyment. We'll be chatting about the challenges, the support that's available, and how travel can be made more accessible and inclusive for everybody. So here is Gemma. Hi Gemma.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I know
Thank you
you're a
so
little
much
bit
for.
nervous.
Yes, I am very nervous, but I thank you very much for the opportunity to come and talk to you today. I really appreciate it.
No, no problem at all. Do you know what? I've seen a lot about neurodivergent travel lately, and it's not something that I've ever thought about really before. So it's really interesting that I've seen all these little travel agencies pop up. So I thought, let's talk about it. So can you tell me a little about yourself?
Yes, so I am a mum of an autistic teen. I'm also ADHD. I'm a late diagnosis. I love travel, and I've traveled very much so since I was young, and I've worked in the travel industry at airports. So I have a bit of a background on travel and on neurodivergence. I will admit, though, I'm not an expert.
Okay.
I can only go off my personal experience that I can share with people.
Yeah, same. Perfect. Can you tell me what really inspired you to focus on neurodivergent friendly travel?
The biggest thing is my son. um, because I was worried that he wouldn't be able to enjoy the world in the way that he would feel safe.
Yeah.
So I decided to see if there was a way that I could change that. And sort of guidance and support and tips. Eventually, I was able to take my son to France for 4 weeks, and
For 4 weeks?
4 weeks,
That's not
and
a
he
holiday, that's a lifetime.
yeah, and he enjoyed it. So, it was like, well, if I can do this for my son, why can't I do it for other people? So
And
this
do
is
you
where it
travel
all came
alone
about.
or with a partner or?
No, just me and my son,
Oh,
just us.
perfect. So, so even single mothers can do it. So
Yeah.
speaking from experience, my children are adults now, but I've
Mm,
also been a single mother. So that adds a whole different thing to
yeah.
the coin. You're not only traveling alone, being neurodivergent with a neurodivergent child, you're then traveling completely alone.
Yes. Yes. Um, and to new places you've never been before. And it has that excitement but scary kind of feel to it at the same time. But it can be achievable. It can definitely be achievable for everybody who wants to do it. It just takes that little bit extra support or that little bit extra guidance that, is out there. We just need to tap into it more.
Okay, so what's the process? All right, for example, let's pretend I have children. They're adults now, and I think they could think of nothing worse than going on holiday with mummy. But let's pretend I have children. What's the process for me? I like to travel. I like the sun. What do I do? I come to you and I say, "Hi, Gemma. I want to go on holiday." What do you do with me?
Basically, the biggest thing of all is communication. So I have a nice long chat with you about what you want,
Hmm.
what you need, and most importantly, what are your triggers so that we can avoid them. Those three things are so important for an individual and a family, because I can then research the best possibly the trip that would work in your favor without, not without, but reducing the amount of stress and trouble that that comes on you when you're traveling. Um, so that's where it begins, basically, is sort of clear communication, to be able to find you the best deal and the best holiday for you and your family.
And do I pay you or do I pay the travel agent? How does that work?
So So basically, I can research your holiday and I can find you a quote. Now, it depends on what you are looking for. If you are looking for something that a big company will provide, then of course, you'd go to them. And all I would provide you with is a travel plan, which enables you to sort of, give you step-by-step guide of what you should be doing, what you should be asking, what you want and what you don't want. And then you can take that to any big company that you want. Or you can use me as a travel agent and I can book your holiday and do all that process for you. Obviously there is a fee and
Yeah.
I can discuss that, with you when you want to do that. But it's very much, I try to focus on the individual's pace, because I don't want them to feel they have to book a holiday or they're rushed to book a holiday, or they may sort of feel uncertain and they need that time to sort of make that choice for themselves, if I'm the right fit for them
Yeah.
or if somebody else is a good fit for them. And I give them that opportunity, sort of really sort of take stock and find out what's right for them first.
Is there a lot of people, I've seen a few, is there a lot of people that are doing what you're doing at the moment? Is there a market for it?
So there is becoming a gap in the market. There are big companies that are doing these kind of things, but without sounding negative, they do well when things are going well.
Yeah.
But when things are not so well, then there are hiccups and things get passed from pillar to post and, departments to departments. So there is improvements to made. So there are smaller companies like myself who are starting to pop up. There's not many,
Hmm.
but there are a few that are happening. There's one in Wales, one in Derbyshire, there's one in Glasgow. There may be a few others that are happening, but we're still sort of new to this.
What happens
Um,
if I go to Thomas Cook? Let's choose an example. What happens if I go to Thomas Cook and I say, "Hey, Thomas Cook," and I send them an email and say, "I'm autistic, I've got ADHD, I've got autistic kids." Is there much support from big companies? Is there anything they can do, or do they just fob me off?
from past experience, they say that they will help, and they
Yep.
will to a degree. Some of the questions that they ask are, do you need a soundproof room?
Yeah.
And they will assume you are the same as any other neurodivergent.
Yeah, once you've met
So
one neurodivergent person, you've met all the neurodivergent people. Okay.
yeah, so they do make an assumption.
Hmm.
So, and then they'll say, yes, we'll try and do this and we'll try and do that. But in reality, they don't come close to it.
They're overrun, overbooked. They're dealing with too many clients, and they don't have a personal interest or investment. Where I think if I came to you, you would make it your personal mission to want to help me because you've been in my shoes.
Exactly, exactly. And that's my main thing, is that no neurodivergent is the same, no
Yeah,
person is the
exactly
same,
that.
and no holiday is the same. So my focus is on, I focus on you as a person, on what you need, and I try my best to match that. And if for any reason that I do provide a holiday for you and you're not happy and you're there, I can either sort out whatever the issue is,
Yeah.
with contacts that I have, or alternatively, and I do say this to every customer, is if you are not happy, I will bring you home on the next available flight with no extra charge.
Yeah. And has that happened?
Not as yet.
Not as yet. That's so good. And we are a hard bunch to please sometimes, so you must be
Yeah.
doing something right. So, what I worry about neurodivergent travel is I am autistic, I am ADHD,
Hmm.
but I like to have fun. Um,
Yeah.
to a certain extent, I have sensory issues, but I like to have fun. So if I
Hmm.
went, say, to Egypt, I'd want to book a holiday with entertainment. I'm worried that you're going to put me somewhere with lots of autistic people with headphones on, sound defenders. I
Yeah.
don't fit that autistic bracket. I
No.
still want to have fun. I don't want to go to a completely bland holiday, are there in-betweeny spots where, you can go where not everyone wants to wear ear defenders, and I'm not tarring all with the same brush. I say it as an autistic person that sometimes does have to wear ear defenders. Is there like a happy medium ground?
Of course, and that basically starts with planning. From the very first moment we start discussing whatever you want, and what activities that you want, so I can give you a list of 3 different things you could do, or 3 different things you want to visit, and I'll give you the option of what's suitable for you as an individual and what isn't. And I make sure that I set that all in place before you even leave your house.
Yeah.
And fit in rest days as well. Rest days are so
So
important
you
because it
basically
gives.
can make an itinerary for me.
Absolutely,
Does that
absolutely.
matter whether I go to whether I choose a resort or whether I choose a, bits and bobs holiday? Can you do that for everything?
I do that for everything because it's vital, because without that itinerary, for some people, having that sort of guide and sort of giving them the reassurance, it's okay to have a day in your hotel room and do nothing. That
Yeah.
is fine. And there is a day where you can go out and do excursions.
Yeah.
That is fine also. Whatever you choose to do
Whatever a
that works for
holiday
you.
looks like for you is a holiday. It doesn't have to be full on chaotic all the time.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be splashed all over Instagram and look like the perfect holiday.
Yeah.
It's only a perfect holiday to you, not other people.
Yeah, is that's exactly true. So is there like destinations that you don't deal with? I go to different places. I've been to the Maldives, I go to Egypt, there's a lot of different places I visit, but then I also visit places like Spain and Turkey. Is there
Yeah.
Are you open worldwide? Like, is there a country that I'm going to come to and you're going to go, actually, I don't have many expertise in that area, so I can't do it?
Not as yet,
Yep.
but there may come a time where I feel, there are things that I worry about, such as a Greek ferry port. The chaos involved with that is unreal.
Mm.
And I do worry about certain people not being able to cope in that environment. So I do discuss that with customers before they
You're
even want
very
to book.
honest with them.
Yeah, absolutely, because everybody's sensory awareness is very different. Some people are sensitive to light, some people are sensitive to noise. What about smells?
Yeah.
Have you ever had a smell before that just sort of sticks in your nose all day and you
Yeah,
just
my,
can't
my
get it out
son
of your
has a
nose?
real issue with any meat cooking. So
Yeah.
anywhere we go, it's a real issue when they've got barbecues and things like that. So yeah, I can understand that sensory thing with smells.
Yeah, so I sort of take that into consideration and I say, well, a Greek port might not be suitable for you, but maybe you could try something like Malta, for instance. They're a little bit more organised in the way they do things. However, don't stick to a certain timetable, because the UK timetable is very strict,
Yeah,
whereas a European timetable, you might be looking at half an hour later than what we would
exactly
expect.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's in Malta. I mean, that anything else worldwide is it runs on a completely different time zone sometimes. So never
Yeah.
expect pure rigidity. I don't know if that's a word, but yeah, I understand that. That's perfect. Do you have many contacts abroad that you lean into then, or are you just kind of making it up as you go?
No, I don't necessarily make it up as I go. Some of which are my own experiences, so I've had opportunities to travel and make connections with people. But also that there are companies that I've connected with, and I have a good reputation with, that I can contact them and say, look, what's your deals, and what can I get off, and what are the extras and things like that. So
Yeah.
I can go to big companies and say, look, I've got a family here and they want this, this and this, and they'll go, okay, but we'll knock 5% off or something, whatever it may be at the time.
What's
Or they
popular?
might
Oh,
say,
sorry. No,
I was
that's
just good.
my ADHD problem. I get something in my head and I have to ask it straight away. Go ahead.
No, no, I was just going to say, or the, some companies will say to me, oh, by the way, we're having this offer coming up. Let your customers know before it goes live, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is it better for us neurodivergent families to not travel in? Not only is it ridiculously expensive to travel in the school holidays, but is it something that we should be avoiding because it's busier and there's more chaos in the summer holidays? Or is there places we can go and it's okay?
Yeah, so basically, don't avoid anything because anything is possible with the right support and guidance. Just some places, like you did say, we are very busy because of summer holidays or whatever. But there are other alternatives in the world to see that are unfamiliar to you, but might be the best thing for you. You just don't know because you haven't been before.
What do you think the most common challenges are that neurodivergent travellers face?
Um, One size does not fit all.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. And I think we need to be able to ask more questions and get to know what it is that we want. I mean, I'm typical for this, shiny syndrome,
Yeah.
magpie syndrome. You
Magpie.
see
Yeah.
something, I want that. I really want that without thinking about how to get it or what's the logistics involved and would I be able to manage doing that. So it's sort of like take a step back and think, right, okay, what do I need to ask? What do I need to do? What research do I need to do? What foods are available for me? Safe foods is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's
you
so
know,
much easier going to you because if I went to a normal travel agent and I asked them about safe foods, they'd look at me like I had two heads. Like, what's a safe food?
yeah,
What's a dangerous food? You won't get food poisoning. If I told you, I need somewhere with safe foods, you'd know exactly what I meant. So not only is it
absolutely.
taking the stress away from me,
Hmm.
it's also someone that has lived experience.
Absolutely. I mean, we all have our own what's the word? Our own uniqueness,
Yeah.
and it should be celebrated, not hindered. So that's what I try and encourage is that we can have what we want and what we need with the right support and the right guidance.
What is the best place at the moment? Is there any popular destinations that you would recommend or any success stories that you've had recently where, if I say to you, like, I'm open to anywhere in the world, I need a new experience. Tell me, where shall I go, Gemma? Can you suggest a few places?
Um, Germany is really nice at the moment,
Wow.
and it's very.
That would have never popped up on my holiday radar.
Germany is a really good place to go, and it's instructed very well. It's signposted very well. It's quite a comfortable place to be in if you're neurodivergent.
Yeah.
It's not obviously the average place to go,
Hmm.
but it's a good. It's up there near the top. Greece is obviously a good place to go as long as you're not going on a ferry.
Yeah.
um, So those are my top ones to recommend because I don't recommend long haul flights unless you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You know that
I
it's
find them
going to
really
take you
difficult.
9 hours to get to Barbados or
Yeah.
whatever, and it
But
doesn't
is it
suit
doable?
everyone.
Is it doable? Can we still do that if we want to?
Of course, there's no restrictions in place. It's just how are you going to manage that trip, that journey? What do you need for you to be able to cope with that? If it means upgrading, then we'll discuss about upgrading. But I will always say to you, just bearing in mind that certain things will cost extra because they do,
Yeah.
but at the same time, is that little bit extra cost, is it worth it to help your nervous system
Yeah.
to cope?
If you're going to
You
spend a
know,
lot of money on a holiday, you might as well spend that little bit extra and really appreciate it than go there and have the most awful time.
yeah, definitely.
Do you have any advice to people traveling that are neurodivergent with neurodivergent children that are thinking about booking a holiday without special support such as what you have? Is there any advice that you can give?
Research is most importantly, I know as parents we do research things a lot, whether it be if you can get safe foods or what's available, but also research your hotel. If you like a hotel, great, but also research what the room looks like, because if you end up spending most of your holiday in your room, you want it to be enjoyable.
Which we can sometimes do, especially as mothers with neurodivergent children. I've had
Absolutely.
holidays where I've had to sit in the room the whole time because the sensory overload from my kids, it's
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Exactly. And also, if you don't want, to go through, someone like myself, that's fine. You can also contact your local airport or your train station, wherever you choose to go, and ask them what their support system is like.
Yeah.
Ask them, sort of, is it free, or do they need a lanyard, or whatever is available. I know it means sort of taking more time out of your day to do this, but at the same time, if you want that holiday with reduced overload,
Yeah.
you need to put the time and the effort in to reduce that overload.
Yeah, and that's why working with someone with you like you would be really helpful, because you take the pressure out of that. How much contact would someone have with you? So as someone that doesn't really like to talk on the phone, ironically, as a neurodivergent person, how much contact do I have with you prior to my holiday? Do you spend a lot of time talking to people, or is it very minimal, or is it, do we have an appointment once a week and discuss it? What's the procedure?
Like I said, it's always depending on the person. So some of my customers, they'll have an initial conversation with me on the telephone or a video call, and then after that, it'll end up majority of the time being emails.
Yeah.
And some customers have emailed me pretty much every day because they want to know X, Y, and Z, which is fine,
Yeah.
which is great. And if I can provide that information, I'm
Yeah.
happy to do that. But then you've got the other customers speak to you at all, and then you start panicking. It's like, are they okay, or have they had second
Or do
thoughts,
they have
or
ADHD? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so it's very much on the individual. But I always say, having that initial conversation and getting to know their needs and wants and avoids is the critical part.
And when do I pay you? Before I have a conversation with you, or do we have a conversation and see if you can meet my needs and then go from there?
So we can do a sort of like a
Discovery
15-minute
call.
chemistry check,
Yep.
and that's free, and see how we go with that. And then when you want to say, look, I really want to book your services, then I do sort of say, look, I do have a charge. It's just sort of, it's all the information I'm gathering for you to make
Yep.
sure that you get the right deal for you.
Yeah.
There is a small charge for that, but then by quotation and the things like that, that's completely free. And then what you do with that, if you come back to me
Yeah.
or you go to a big company, then it is totally your choice. And then obviously you book your holiday, and then there in some occasions I will earn a little bit of commission, but that's not always the
Yeah.
case. And that will also, I don't get that until you've been on your holiday and maybe 3 months after you've returned.
Yeah. Do you see there being a real need for this? That, the more the world goes on, the more there's more people diagnosed. Do you think that there is a real need for your service? I came on here with no expectations. It's not a service I've looked into before, and now I can really see that if I was a single mum with children again, if I had my time again, you would definitely be someone that I think I could reach out to, and you would have took a lot of the edge and the worry off of going on holiday. So do you think
Yeah.
that there is a lot of need for people like you guys?
Absolutely. I do think there's a lot of need, not just for the fact is that some people just need somebody else to research something for them that
Yeah.
they just haven't got the brain capacity to deal with that
Yeah.
on top of what they're dealing with, or just sort of someone to give them the extra support and guidance that
Especially
they,
as a single mum, I think that would have been amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so, that they can achieve what they need to achieve for themselves and their family. Yeah, I think it's important because none of us want to be isolated because of our neurodivergence.
Yeah.
We all have the right to explore the world and see what's new and
So
what's
it is
different.
totally possible, even if you are profoundly autistic, or say, if I was sitting here and I had a profoundly autistic child, it is still possible for me to go on holiday.
Absolutely. There are services out there that will help you do that.
That's amazing, because I think there are a lot of people sitting there with profoundly autistic children which think, I don't know if that's an option for me, especially if you're booking somewhere abroad for the first time, you know, culture differences, language differences. It's a scary old process, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, but we don't also have to vote. We could
Okay.
have a nice, you know, we could have a nice week in Wales or in
So do you
Scotland.
you deal with like abroad and not abroad as well?
Yeah, yeah. So I helped a family last year for a holiday in Pembrokeshire in South Wales.
Yeah.
And a mother and son went to Scotland beginning of this year. Yeah, beginning of this year. So yeah, and they travelled by train. They didn't drive. They travelled by train.
Yeah. And would you help me put train tickets in place and etc.? Like, you know, could you go that in depth?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's very much what you need and what's
How
important to
much of a
you.
handhold you need? Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody's different, and I don't want to take away anybody's independence,
Yeah.
but I am wanting to enable them to be able to do it. And
Give
if
you
I
the
can support
tools.
them,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Amazing. Is there anything, before we wrap up, is there anything that you think I've missed out? I have ADHD. I'm a hot mess. So I could have missed out a million questions. Is there anything you want to share with us about neurodivergent travel that you think is important, or about your service that, yeah, that you think that you can share with us?
I think I've said it really mostly is, you know, travel should adapt to the traveller, not to the big companies, not to their revenue, basically.
Yeah.
Travel is possible and it's different for every single person. Um, and if I can help somebody have a kind of holiday and they're able to get some kind of rest from their usual day-to-day life, then, you know, my job's done,
Yeah.
you know. But I will also help somebody from the minute they want to plan to the minute they get home. They don't lose me just because they've
That's what
booked
I
a
was gonna
holiday or
ask. When you're on a holiday, what if I ring you and I'm like, "Oh, I'm really nervous about doing X, Y, Z." You know, is there a support for that?
of course, I'm on the phone. I have a WhatsApp, so if anybody wants to contact me and say, look, I don't know if I want to do this day trip or whatever, I
Yeah,
can say that's fine. We can change it for another day, or we can change it for something else. Or, you know, if they're saying, oh, I'm not happy, I don't like this room, I'll say, okay, let me see if I can change it for you. So I'm there. I'm there to sort of change things. I'm there to adapt things,
yeah,
and if you're seriously not happy with whatever it is that, the situation at the time, I can bring you home with no extra charge. And that's the most important thing, because sometimes we're home buddies. We like
yeah,
our home comforts, and sometimes going on holiday, it's just that little bit too much. So, having the opportunity to go is fantastic, but sometimes coming back home is just as important.
yeah. That is so true. Honestly, thank you so much for speaking with me today. It's definitely something that I am now more, well, I now my children have grown up. It's a little bit too late, but it's um it's something definitely I didn't really consider. And back in the day when I had three small children, all neurodivergent me, as a single mum, I did used to take them on holiday all the time. But it was
Mm,
also something that I really worried about because, going abroad, I didn't want them to miss out. But then
yeah,
again, I was scared because
yeah,
they were a lot of work, and specifically in another country with different customs and different cultures, it was a really hard balance to get. So if I had had
yeah.
a friend, let's say, on the other
Hmm.
end of the phone, because I feel like that's what you forge with them. If you had
Yes,
had a friend on the other side of the phone that could help talk me through things, I think it would have been much more of a easy experience.
definitely. And I don't just cater for families. I'm there for couples.
Yeah.
Solo travelers. I've just organised a honeymoon for an autistic lady, and her husband's got ADHD. And I've just organising a trip for a 21-year-old for his solo trip ever. He's never been abroad.
Oh wow. He's going alone.
So yeah, he's going alone.
Yeah.
and that's something he wants to do. So yeah, we're in discussions about sort of planning that works for him basically. So it's exciting. It's exciting.
And do you need a long time? Like what if I come to you and I say, "Hey, look, I want to go away soon." Or is it something I need to book ahead of time for you to do research?
I always say give me at least 2 or 3 days to make sure that I get the very best for you.
Okay, so not
Um,
too long.
No, but also at the same time that I will give somebody another opportunity. So if I find something, and I give you a list of, say, 3 possible hotels or holidays, and you say to me, none of them fit me, I say, just give me another chance to sort of see if I can find something a little bit better for you,
Hmm.
something along the lines. And then after that, if you're still not happy with what I'd be able to provide for you, then, obviously I'm not the right service for you.
Yeah.
But I always say, so just give me that extra time to sometimes find something new that, maybe you weren't looking for, and I'll search for it the best I can.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Gemma. Have you got any holidays planned this year?
Not currently. We came back from Germany not so long ago, and we went to Luxembourg earlier this year. So no plans as yet, but we would love to go to Greece ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not set in stone yet, but you never know.
You never know. Amazing. Thank you so much. Have a lovely, lovely day.
Thank you so much. I love the opportunity. Thanks
Thank
again, and
you.
I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.